Welcome to Batchademia, a podcast so educational two professors could be hosting it. Hi, I'm Dr. Danielle Dick-McGew, and joining me is Dr. Bill Pennyman. Welcome, welcome y'all to Batchademia. This is the finale week of Bachelor in Paradise. So fun. So Bill, I gotta ask you if you had to score this season of Bachelor in Paradise, 1 being it sucked, 10 being a greatest season ever, what would you score it?
You know, it's tough. I feel like it started out at a good 8 or 9, and then it just kind of like fizzled.
I agree.
I was trying to think of a movie that I've seen that I was like into, and then at the end, it's like it just kind of drug on, and you were like, "This needs to be over." So I'd give it like a 7.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I can't think of a better season, but I think maybe it just started out so high.
Yeah, it was really fun. And I think we hadn't had a Bachelor in Paradise for a while. So it was like pretty exciting to get one.
Yeah.
But then it did just feel like, I think that you have to balance drama with romance.
Yeah.
And the drama got old, but then we didn't get to see a ton of the romance until like the last couple of episodes.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like the best analogy I can make is it's kind of like when you're like 25 and you've kind of settled down in life, but then you see your college friends and you we're going to go out drinking, and you just go way too hard. And then it's like 11 o'clock and you're really drunk and you're like, I just want this to be over. I'm tired. I don't want to be that hungover. And I feel like that's kind of how the season ended.
I feel like that's always been how I felt about like hanging out. Like I
Really?
have a lot of fun at 5 p.m. but by 9 I'm ready for bed.
Really? No, I definitely hit a point in my life where it's like I could be up till like 3 a.m. and then one day I was like, it's 11 o'clock, I want to go to bed. I need to sober up. I got to do stuff.
My parents gave me a curfew of like 12:30, and when I went to college I was like, I still just stuck to it. I was like, oh, sorry, y'all, gotta go home. It's 12:30. Like,
that's
why?
amazing.
My mom wants me home right now. I guess I've always liked to sleep at a reasonable hour. So, wild one, Danielle, right over here. So I've got a wild question for you.
Yeah.
So this is a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, hot dog. Is it a sandwich? I want you to defend your position.
So full disclosure, I've been gone all week and Danielle has brought this whole show together. So I just read this question. I hate this question. Like people debate this like it really matters. And it just seems like
people debate this question? Is this like a
it's a thing.
I don't even know?
Yes, it is like a hipster, like 20-some-year-olds sit around and drink IPAs and like yell at each other. It's like, it's the same. It doesn't matter.
So I just did something cool and I didn't even know it.
Right? Well, that's how.
I mean, not to Bill. Like Bill's like over it. Danielle, that's a cliche question. But like I was like being a cool kid and I didn't even know.
Yeah. It's it just reeks of like 25-year-olds with like big beards drinking IPAs and being like, it's a sandwich. I don't care. Just eat it. So
like, what's your position though?
I don't care. I will eat it. I love a hot dog.
You'll eat.
I don't know what it matters. Like, and then people argue like, what's the definition of a sandwich? I don't care.
Hold on a second. I think I just heard my husband. He just got home and he's never been on the podcast. So I'll bring him on.
Oh, I love it.
Ryan, come here. Bill and I are recording the podcast and I have an important question for you. Could you make it a guest appearance and introduce yourself to our fans? He's like fixing his
head. You're gonna have to make the camera so much higher for Ryan.
Hi, I am Ryan. That looks like the people on that podcast I like.
So I got an important question for you, Ryan.
I'm sure it's very important.
Hot dog. Sandwich or not a sandwich?
Oh,
defend your position.
See, I feel like this is up your guys' alley because you all come from like the debate club background, like comm studies people.
I'm gonna go hot dog is a sandwich.
Okay.
It's filling between two pieces of bread. That's a sandwich.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't care. I'm gonna eat it.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, thank you.
That's actually that's exactly what it is to come from a debate background, because it's literally arguing about something that has no effect on anything whatsoever. So
but you should also join the speech or debate team at UNI.
Yeah. Thanks, Ryan.
Yes.
I feel like this is it. We're like our last podcast. We've accomplished everything we ever wanted to do.
It's true. Yeah. So I don't know. I was like thinking about it. I was like, I think hot dog is just its own genre. But then I was like thinking, what makes a sandwich? And I couldn't think of anything that really distinguished hot dog from sandwich. I was even going to be like, well, it's like the shape of the bun, but like, I don't know, hoagies, subs, they're about the same. I don't know. So I guess I would be like team sandwich.
I feel like 25-year-old Bill would have been really opinionated, but 39-year-old Bill is so beaten down by the world. He's just like, I just want to eat it.
You're like, I don't care.
I don't.
Feed me the damn dog.
I just want to eat the damn hot dog.
Oh my goodness.
I do love hot dogs though. Like as a kid, I think I ate way too many. Like I probably have something like, yeah.
So one of my college roommates, Megan, if you're listening, you should be on the podcast because you're funny. And Megan ate so many hot dogs and she'd boil them. And so it's like something I like really remember about her is the amount of hot dogs that she ate.
In my family, we just ate them. Like we didn't even cook them a lot of times. We would just like it was like a snack. Like it was like string cheese for us. White trash string cheese.
Yeah. Hot dogs are good. So
you did. So I do have a decent hot dog or an interesting hot dog story. We at one point we were going to take our dogs into agility, right? And so we were taking them to this lady who would like train them to do where they like jump over stuff and go through tunnels. And so to train them, she was like, here's what I do. I get a hot dog and I bite a whole bunch of pieces up and keep them in my mouth and then spit them to the dog, like when they do something right. And so she would like eat a whole hot dog and like put it on her cheeks like a chipmunk. And she's like, then they always look at your face. And it was like, I just remember thinking, this is either the most amazing thing I've ever seen or the most horrifying or somewhere in between. I can't decide.
I like just want to start doing that, like go for a walk, like a mouthful of hot dogs, have conversations with the neighborhood dogs.
I don't feel like we're close enough, but that would be something amazing to do in like meetings. You and Ryan, if you really wanted to creep someone out, like have them chew it up and then spit it and you catch it and people are like, oh, they are disgusting.
Oh my goodness. Speaking of like shows with disgusting food fetishes, let's talk about Bachelor in Paradise.
That's a good transition.
That was a great transition. So we're back at prom.
We're back.
We started this episode, and like any prom, someone is crying. And that someone is Abigail, because Noah has told her that she is not his person. So the episode begins with Abigail explaining to Noah that she was going to tell him that she was falling in love with him, but it's too little too late. Noah's made up his mind. So they say their goodbyes. They leave the beach. This shocks everyone. Like Serena's like crying about it. They're like really in a tizzy.
It really was like prom. Like some person is like vicariously like hurt.
Yes, they're like, I am crying because my friend broke up with her boyfriend. Oh, I think we have.
Okay, so I've thought about this more.
Okay.
Turns
out
that
you changed the shirt. You went Mr. Rogers on us.
I was overheating thinking about eating all the hot dogs and stuff. No, so if you took the hot dog out and you put like ham in there and you fold it, you call that a sandwich. It'd be a hoagie, right? That's a sandwich.
Right. Yeah.
But if you just had a few hot dogs and you just like chopped them the long way and you put them between two pieces of bread, that'd be weird. But you wouldn't argue that it wasn't a sandwich because of the meat. So if neither the bread nor the meat disqualifies it from being a sandwich, it's a sandwich.
I like it. So good.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, man.
I know.
You will never know what might happen or what you might learn on an episode of Batchademia.
I feel like that was a very good example of extra credit. Like we just got learned on how to end a debate.
Absolutely. Like now we have no work to do. We can just gossip about the show, which is good because that's about all my brain can do today.
How do you win spousal arguments with that type of logic he just dropped on us? I would just constantly be agreeing with him.
I will say we have to sometimes remember that we aren't fighting to win. Right? Like, you know, it's definitely a thing we have to navigate. Sometimes I'm like, you are just fighting to win, and I just need you to listen to me. I'm like, probably have said that before. So when we met when he was in a debate class, and he might have won one of the debates that we debated, and when we were married, his like certificate for winning was like on our fridge for like a year. Like he just like would put it on the fridge to like mock me.
That's amazing.
So, yes. So anyway, speaking of mocking, I know that's like a terrible transition, but so everybody's freaking out because they're like, oh, if Noah and Abigail could break up, then we could break up too. So yeah, any thoughts on that, on their breakup?
Well, they're together now, right?
They are. And
there are several people that ended up back together after they broke up on the show. So yeah. I'm just curious as to why that happened. Like, were they like, you have to propose or you need to break up? Like,
I sort of got the feeling with Abigail and Noah that they were just kind of, I wonder if sometimes there is something about the context that you're in that maybe causes you to have like second guess things that maybe in real life you wouldn't. And so I sort of got the feeling that like really like Noah was like, I just like feel like something's off. Like we're going to have to make these big decisions soon. Like I'm just going to call it now. Right. And I wonder if in real life, without the pressures of the show, they weren't able to like, because they did want to move slower.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. So the day after prom is the rose ceremony. And yeah, the pressure really is on that they're going to need to make big decisions about the relationship. And Wells announces, hey, we're not going to have the cocktail party anymore. So they jump right into the rose ceremony. Right. And nothing particularly wild happens, right? So Joe gives his rose to Serena, Riley to Marissa, Kenny to Mari, Thomas to Becca, James to Anna, Aaron to Tia, and then Ed to McKenna. And so then Chelsea and Natasha go home. And I don't think, I mean, there were a couple of those, like you didn't know maybe Aaron was going to go back with, you know, Chelsea, maybe Ed would go with Natasha, but you kind of knew.
Yeah. Yeah, there wasn't anything shocking.
So then like the couples that remain have to decide whether they're going to continue on because it's going to be the fantasy suites. And then they bring Caitlin and Dean in as the new host to help them like navigate this difficult decision. So what do you think about the choice of Caitlin and Dean?
I don't know. I feel like Dean is such a good looking guy and he is doing his very best to not look good. Like his stupid mustache and it's like he's just trying so hard to be like counter cool. I don't know.
So I thought that it was an interesting choice. On one hand, right, like I felt like really you're gonna like go from like Little John and David Spade to like Caitlin and Dean.
And Wells was doing fine, so I guess I didn't understand why they kind of pulled Wells.
Well, it's interesting because a lot of times on Bachelor in Paradise, they will bring in previous people that were on the show and sort of be like, hey, look at
mentors.
Yes, it's sort of like, hey, oh, and to like remind people, hey, this does work. Look at here's so and so with their baby, like, and so I didn't know if that was like their way of like weaving in this kind of tradition that they have.
Yeah.
Like Caitlin and Dean were an interesting choice because did they leave the show together? Do you remember the last?
I think they did. Let me
definitely up and down, and then like she lived in a van with him for a while. And I mean, I think that it's funny because individually I don't like either of them that well, but together I thought that they're a cute couple.
Okay. Interesting. I am not that big of a Dean fan, but
that's how I feel about Caitlin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really like her because she was she like on Colton's season maybe? Yeah. I felt her and Hannah B like had her and Hannah Brown had a little bit of a conflict, and I really liked, I was on team Hannah. Yes. And then I felt so sorry for Blake when he was like being drugged through. I mean, he was clearly a villain, but I also felt like some of the things that she was doing with the Blake drama didn't set right with me. So like I've never really liked her that much.
Yeah. I'm looking up. Yeah. I'm looking it up. Unglert, Dean Unglert and Miller Keys hit off week 2 of Bachelor in Paradise. Unglert left the beach, leaving Keys heartbroken. Then they came back together. She moved in with him.
That's right. He left, and then he did come back, and he asked her to leave with him, and she did.
Yeah, because he's into this very like natural lifestyle, and so
on the road. I don't know. I've got to tell you, I don't know if it's like the pandemic or what, but like I had a moment earlier this week where I was like, hey, Ryan, like maybe we need to sell all of our things, move into a camper and just take the road. We could be homesteaders. And then if Ryan's like, Danielle, like we can't grow anything. Like Danielle, you can't even keep snake plants alive. Like what makes you think that you're going to be able to like provide for,
having been in the woods for 5 days straight during the summer, it's kind of one of those things that it's fun for 5 days. Only because it makes you appreciate everything that you have. Like, I don't understand people that are like, I live in a van and I grow my own herbs. And
you know what's really nice? Instacart.
Instacart, TV, air conditioning. Yep. Beds that I can like that have like a box spring. All things I love.
All things that are nice. So living in the wilderness is awkward, just like this episode.
No, we're killing it. I feel like I've taken your position that you had 3 weeks ago where you were just really angry. Like we've really role switched, and I'm the person that's like, all of this is dumb.
So the show gets awkward. Like they take couples in a way that I really loved. I like this part of the show. So they kind of have the couples go off one-on-one and have a conversation to decide, like, should we stay or should we go? And they start out with Kenny and Mari. And Kenny's worried that Mari might miss out on all that he's gotten to experience in life. And she's like, nah, I'm cool. Like, but like also like Kenny, like you made it to 40. Like, like, I don't know.
I want to know, like, I wish that they would have probed more and been like, what specifically is she going to miss out that you did in your life that was so rewarding and enjoyable, Kenny? Like, not that I agree or disagree. I just want him to list them. It's like, well, I did coke off of someone at one point. I took acid and forgot my name for a week. Like just some really good stories. Cause I bet Kenny's got some stories.
I agree. And unsurprisingly, they decide to go to the fantasy suite. This is followed by Becca and Thomas. So the conversation starts out and they're just kind of talking about things. And then like, it's clear that Thomas is interested in the relationship continuing. And Becca's like, yeah, I think it would be best for us if we just left things, right?
Yeah.
And then Thomas cries. Like he really cries, not just like a little bit. And this is surprising. Was this surprising to you, Bill?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, he had always been so like just kind of stoic and like I'm this, you know, like smiley, and then it made me was like, is he having like a mental health break? Or yeah, so I mean, good for him for showing emotion. And he had talked about in the previous season how he had never been good at showing emotion and he's a people pleaser. And so on that hand, I was like, oh, maybe this is kind of good for him. But yeah,
I thought it was also surprising because we really hadn't seen very much of the relationship.
mm-hmm.
And so I was like, oh, like, are they that connected? You know,
Mm-hmm.
we didn't really get to see very much of it. And so he goes to leave and Becca kind of like follows him and gives him a hug and is sort of like, I want you to, you know, like, I want you to know that I still like you.
It's not you, it's me.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
much.
But then they ended up back together.
Yes, and she apologized for like breaking up with him on national television, and people were pretty hard. I was reading like all these tweets.
Really?
People were pretty hard on Becca for breaking up with him, but you know, I gotta say, if you had been through what she's been through with this show already,
Yeah.
I can just be like, I'm not getting engaged on this show again, and like break apart. So
Yeah.
like I think that maybe what wasn't fair is that he was surprised by that. Like maybe she should have like clued him in that she wasn't gonna be ready for that.
I was trying to figure out if it was like maybe she was giving him clues. And you know, it's like the editing, we talk about that on here a lot, the editing, but also like he seems like he might be a little clueless. Like he seems like he might be a little bit full of himself, like not great at reading what's going on around him. And I wonder if that played into it.
So I have such a hard time figuring him out and him and her out. So Becca posted this like beautiful montage, right, of them the last however long it's been, and it showed the relationship, and it was really cute, and you got a sense of them and their personalities together a little bit more than you did on the show. But like I said, like I've always found her to be this like really level-headed person who's like good at setting boundaries. And I don't know, I've just always really liked Becca, and I've never like, I guess what I don't understand is like there's ways that he just doesn't seem to match her in that sense. But I will say there's other things where I've like seen him make some comments that I'm like, oh, he's like more witty than I would have like guessed. And so maybe there's just more to him than I'm giving him credit for.
Yeah. I don't get it. I thought they were done for sure, but the crying thing took me off guard. And then the two of them getting back together, I'm still not sure that it's going to last, but who knows?
I hope the best for Becca because I like Becca. All right. So then Ed and McKenna, who were probably my favorite, maybe my favorite breakup.
Yes.
So like,
poor Ed.
One, there's little ways that you like think, oh, well, like McKenna wants to be on the show. And like, I kind of think there's like a part of McKenna that's like just down to fall in love.
Yep.
Right. So Ed's though, like, I'm off to ask McKenna to go to the fantasy suite. And the guys are like laughing. They're like, only Ed would like meet a girl for a day and be like, yeah, we're going to do the fantasy suite thing. And then like McKenna's like, yeah, no. And he's like, but pretty please, with like a cherry on top. Like, And she's like, no. And so then they part ways, and Ed's like, oh, I got dumped, guys.
And they were like, yeah, we know. I love his, like, he's like the man who knew too little, or he's just like his like positivity in himself is just amazing. When he's like, she's like, yeah, it's not gonna work. He's like, okay, so like maybe we do the fantasy suite, and she's like, yeah, it's not gonna work. And he's like, okay, so then when we're out of here, you know, I'd still like to get to know you, and so I'll just call you. And she's like, no, I don't think so. And he's like, okay. Okay. It's just like,
I think that what I like about him is that, like, in some ways there's so many people that seem to take all of this so seriously that they're like, you know, throwing things into fires and screaming on beaches, and like Ed's like, I'm chill. Like,
I don't think he's there for more followers. Like he's one of the few people on the show that I'm like, I don't think he even realizes that Instagram or Twitter is a thing. He just is like, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when he took McKenna out, and he's like, you know, we're gonna have a good time. I hope McKenna has a good. I know I'm gonna have a good time.
I feel like that's Ed. I think he's like, I'm gonna have a good time. I'm a yes and kind of guy.
I love
Let's
it.
go for this. I appreciate it.
Kind of like when
that's how I would be if I didn't have anxiety.
That's how we all want to be, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's like when he met Chris Harrison and he's drinking wine. He's like, let's just have some wine then. Okay. Yeah.
And Chris is like, what's happening? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then we move to Anna and James. And Anna's in. Anna and Ed somehow missed each other, you know? Like Anna's like,
it would have been perfect.
I like James. I like want to explore this. And James is kind of like, I only have eyes for Aaron, right? And so James and Anna break up, and James immediately goes back and says, hey, Aaron, you want to ride off into the sunset together? Like pretty much he's like, we gotta go together. And Aaron's like, yeah, man.
Let's do it.
I got it. Let's do it. I gotta like go, you know, like high five Tia.
I gotta talk to Tia for a second.
And then poor Tia is like, oh yeah, let's go talk. And he's like, no, like we're talking right here, right now. Like I'm out. I'm leaving with James. And Tia's like, what? Like she's like laughing about it, but also like, you jerk.
Mortified, yeah.
You know? And then she's like, screw this place. I'm never coming back. So, you know, she'll probably be back next season.
Yeah, I don't think Tia was incredibly heartbroken over that.
No, I don't think she was either. I feel bad for Tia. I would date Tia.
Oh, yeah.
So
I would.
Riley and Marissa. Riley plays a terrible joke on Marissa. He like pretends like he's just not sure about things, and maybe he's getting cold feet. And then he's like, gotcha, let's go to the fantasy suite. And she's like about ready to like kill him.
Yeah. She was very concerned.
Oh.
I'm never a fan when they do that. I don't know why. It makes me uncomfortable.
It's clear that there's like some of that is a playfulness in their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the reason it makes me uncomfortable is because they both do still seem like, I think if they were like, we're 100% in, we've been together for a while.
Yeah.
We know where we stand. I think that joke like works a bit better, but when you're like, I'm really vulnerable, we've known each other for like 3 weeks, but I like kind of want to marry you. Yeah.
It seems a little bit more, I don't know, like controlling or like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm with you. I agree.
It would not do much to like create a surety, you know, a reassurance.
I agree.
So Joe and Serena, you know, they're clearly in. Serena says, I love you. It's really adorable. He's like, adorable. Really, they are really adorable. So the fantasy suites. I guess anything to talk about that? Were you surprised by who went? No.
I guess for some reason I thought Kenny and Marissa. whoever. Mari. Yeah, I for some reason I thought maybe they wouldn't end up together, but I know you've been like all the way.
All the way. I think they get married. I think that she has a baby in the next 2 years. Like
I can't tell if you're joking or
I'm so serious.
I can't tell.
I'm so serious. I feel like if I don't know why, but I feel like if two people were going to like if anyone was going to marry Kenny, it'd be Mari. I don't know.
Wow. You have so
Yeah,
much
I
okay.
feel like they complement each other.
Wow. All right. I did not see this.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that like I think they're both kind of trashy and like it works.
Okay.
And, like even trashy people deserve love.
I'm gonna sneeze. You almost made me laugh sneeze.
Do it. Sneezes are the worst when they're like tickling.
Yeah.
All right. So Joe and Serena, you know, in their fantasy, they're talking about life after the show. Kenny and Mari are kind of Kenny and Mari. Like Kenny's like, I can't believe it took me this long to find. I still can't believe I'm gonna, you know, get married. Then we go to Riley and Marissa, and it's like the most beautiful moment of the show, right? So Riley tells Marissa that she is his Sunday morning. And like I was like, dude, you should have saved this for the proposal. It was so beautiful. I wept like a baby watching this.
I didn't cry, but I thought it was very cute.
Whatever, Bill. I know. You should have.
In my hotel room. Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. So the food sex fetish continues. There's like more whipped cream and maybe toes. I don't know. There's tacos. Joe and Serena aren't eating off of each other, are they?
They're a good, strong, Protestant, like sexually repressed couple that we all know and love.
Absolutely. So the next morning, everyone seems good except for Riley, who's feeling nervous, and he kind of like whispers to Marissa that he needs a little more time to sort of figure out whether or not he's going to propose. Comments, I guess, about any of that?
Yeah, I don't know. He seemed to be so like in, and then he would kind of not be, and I don't know. I couldn't figure out what, like the two of them seemed very into each other and confident, but then they would have these weird, like, where one would get not confident. And I wondered if it was like they were worried that the other one was going to pull away. And yeah, I don't know.
I can't tell if it's a lack of confidence in the relationship or, again, if it's the scenario that they're in. Yeah. Right? Like, I don't feel like Riley, at least, really seems like a person that would like jump on a proposal.
Yeah.
A lot of ways. And so I do think that this has got to be a bit of a leap for him.
Yeah. Well, and you wonder too if like they've been burned in the past. And so there's always that kind of concern about, if I jump into this, am I going to get, burned? And I think everyone does that, that's why like people wait so long to tell people they love them, like probably because they don't want to say it and then have to have that awkwardness where like the person doesn't say it back. And so I wonder if that's if you're not watching the podcast, Danielle just made an amazing face that I think she was acting out like I think that was your interpretation of saying I love you and waiting like.
Yeah, it was a smooshed face. Like, what?
That's a good word for it. Smooshed. Smoosh.
So proposal day. Kenny and Mari go first. And Kenny gets down on one knee, and as he does, he's like, oh, my body.
It was a very 40-year-old like proposal, like, ugh.
Like, there's like part of me that wants to go like, look at, like, we are not falling apart at the party, but then like I'm like, actually wait, no, like I am totally falling apart.
I've been on crutches for 4 weeks, so with the knee surgery. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I cycled with Bill's wife Elaine last night, and I'm like pulling myself up the railing up the stairs today.
I have the other day I got out of a chair and I got up and I was like, ugh, and someone was like, oh my God, Bill. And it's like, I've turned into my grandpa.
Oh my goodness. For our young listeners, like your day will come.
You got this to look forward to.
So like
excited about dryers that steam your clothes and like groaning when you have to get up.
How is that dryer going?
Oh man, it is so nice. It's the dream. This morning I had to dress up, wrinkled clothes, threw them in, 20 minutes, boom. Yeah.
Oh man. See, I just use Downy wrinkle spray.
But then when you bend over, it re-wrinkles them. Not the dryer.
I think I have high tolerance for being wrinkled.
Oh, well.
Too. That might be part of it. Basically, I look like a mess is what I'm telling y'all. That is the glory of 40s. I've been told I'm excited about that decade because apparently you just quit caring about some things.
It's coming, right? Like pretty soon.
I feel it. Yeah, not that many months from now. March.
Yeah, you'll have to tell me what it's like on the other side.
I will. Old woman here will drop some wisdom. So Riley and Marissa, we kind of are like, oh, what's gonna happen here? Will he propose? Yes, he will. His proposal speech was nice, but I gotta say, it just can't top the Sunday morning speech.
Yeah.
I did appreciate that Marissa made a whipped cream and toe reference. Always a fun thing to remember back on.
I think what made this last episode seem so humdrum is that there just wasn't a lot of drama, and they felt the need to like try to insert drama in there. And it's like, I don't think there was really any drama with Riley and Marissa, like, but they felt the need to act like there was going to be drama. And I feel like most people kind of can sniff that out at this point.
Or, like just lean into the fact that in some ways, this is your like rom-com moment, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is.
Yeah, that's a good, it's like, this is where like they get together and everyone feels the power of two people who are meant to be. Yeah, it's funny because it's like the show, they want you to like, this works and you can fall in love. But then the whole time they want you to doubt that you actually can fall in love till the last minute. And it's like let people be happy for them. Quit trying to make us.
Of that, Joe and Serena, right, are up next. And then the producers bring Kendall back on.
I'm mad at Kendall for this. Like,
are you?
Yeah, I just feel like there was no reason for her to come back. I feel like the producer
voice in it.
Oh yeah, I think the producer said you want to come back and tell him that you're happy for him, but it just seemed like the way it went down was just the producers trying to like, insert anxiety.
I've seen a lot of different tweets and things where people are like, what do the producers have on her?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And what I kind of know of Kendall, because I've followed her on social media for a while, and I just really like her. She is weird and nerdy. And
that's what I'm saying. I like her. I feel like she's above this.
Like what? Right.
Yeah.
And so like, I do find it curious. And then I also felt like she was sort of there to give him her blessing, but it also felt like it was somewhere in between. I still love you.
Yeah.
And I'm giving you my blessing. And it was really uncomfortable.
Yes. And Joe doesn't help it because though he is like nice about it, he doesn't really give any feedback about anything. He's like, sure. Okay.
Like, okay, thank you for sharing. I'm going to propose now. Toodles.
Yeah, he kind of takes everything like I do at a restaurant when they tell me they're out of pickles. And I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, I could use those pickles, but whatever. Okay. Let's do it.
I mean, he's in such an awkward position because I think that I do think that he doesn't want to hurt Kendall,
Mm-hmm.
right? But he also is like, yeah, I have a boundary here.
But, yeah, go ahead. I have an opinion.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, the whole thing was icky.
I feel like he needs to start setting up a real boundary though with her, because it's like, this is what, the third time now she's kind of inserted herself and tried to like kind of break him and Serena up, you know, or like awkwardly kind of tested the waters. And it's like, either the producers are doing this, which at some point it's like, all right, just enough's enough, or she's legitimately doing it, in which case he needs to really like, or this is going to be something that's going to continue in his relationship with Serena, where Kendall shows up every 6 months and then it creates strife between those two. And it gives Kendall this false, you know, and I feel like you can be friends with people that you used to date and you broke up with, but there's got to be some boundaries around it, right? Like there needs to be some ground rules. And I'm just not sure that right now there are ground rules. And if there were, they're certainly not what I would consider to be like good, effective. Yeah.
It's not healthy right now until it seems like Kendall has things on her end that she really needs to work through. I will say what's weird though is when she was there, after she had those initial conversations with Joe, yeah, it was hard for her to watch them, but like it didn't seem that she intervened much after that. And so that makes it even more peculiar, right? That she like left and then we like come back. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I did think that Serena was amazing because when she arrived, Joe's like, hey, I kind of want to give you a heads up. My ex was just here. And her response was, are you okay?
Yeah.
I was like, that is like the most generous, like selfless response, right? To like not be, you could tell, upset, but to just be like, to think about how hard that must have been for him.
Take care of your significant other and make sure, recognizing the emotional toll it takes on him, and probably shows a lot of confidence in their relationship, right? And I think people that are confident in their relationship, their mind doesn't immediately go to like, oh, are they going to leave me? It's like, emotionally, how might have that been for that person?
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, well, how did it go? Like, are you leave? What is happening with us now? It was like, are you okay?
Yeah.
And so Joe proposes. It's sweet. She says yes. All of the proposals I felt were like, they weren't, maybe it's after Riley's Sunday morning, everything paled in comparison, but like, it just felt like the proposals were a little like weak.
Yeah. I'm not a big proposal person anyways. I just kind of feel like
Bill, I wanted to weep. I wanted my heart to
you wanted your rom-com moment.
I did. And it just kind of felt like, okay, cool.
Well, welcome to marriage, Danielle. Oh, cool. No, I don't know. I don't know. I just always feel like proposals are like this odd, people put a lot of like umph into them. And really, I think where relationships are built are in every little thing that happens between them. And so, but I agree on the grand scale of proposals, they're pretty blah.
I want to watch a good proposal though. I want to be a voyeur.
I like it.
Situation.
I agree with you though. I think Riley's Sunday morning thing, it's like they needed to be like dub it. They should have recorded it and then dubbed it over them like one of the old Godzilla movies where he'd be like,
yes, that's awesome. That would have been hilarious. So they did this awesome like update montage on all the couples, which by the way, I have been watching some like old movies from like the 90s, and it's kind of been fun. There's just things I think I can watch that I watched as a kid that I can now watch with my kids. And I'm like, gosh, like they just don't do montages like they used to. And then we got this
I love
on Bachelor in
montage.
Paradise, and it made me so happy. So we learned that Abigail and Noah are back together. You know, despite there's been these rumors that Abigail and Dale hooked up, and that's part of the breakup between Claire and Dale. But they are in I love you territory now. They've been saying I love you on like Instagram and stuff. Thomas and Becca are back together, as we mentioned. I think one of the funniest updates was that Brendan and Piper are laying low.
Connor is available to play your next party, it said, which I thought was great.
Yes, and then the engaged couples are all still together and like seem pretty happy. Anything that you liked from that montage, especially, or?
Oh, I think we've talked about this. I really like that Bachelor in Paradise knows who it is. Like with the poking fun at Connor and Brendan and Piper, it's like I appreciate that they're willing to say, we're kind of a goofy show where like Bachelor and Bachelorette, it always feels like they're like, we're here to find this person of love. And it's like, well, you're here to promote products and hope that drama happens.
I agree. So
what about you?
What lessons? Oh, I just love the whole thing. I love the whole thing. I also just like that you don't always know, like you have to like look up on their Instagram or like their Twitter or something like that. And it was kind of nice that they gave an update. And then it's kind of been fun going on Instagram, and once they were able, all the couples that were still together have like posted all of these kind of like updates and showed all these things that they did.
I liked it.
It made my heart swell.
Yeah. It seemed like this is by far the most successful season as far as like people being together after the show. Like, I don't think there's been more than 2, let alone 5.
And I do believe that Marissa and Riley are our first Black couple that we've seen in the Bachelor franchise.
I like
it. We haven't we've seen mixed race couples, but I think that's the first time, which is really important. So like one of the podcasts that we were listening to in my communication and pop culture class was talking about how on so many of the seasons of The Bachelor, so just to The Bachelor, diversity has increased in the cast, but like oftentimes like you don't have very many Black women, and the woman who is writing Rachel Dabrowski, I'm mispronouncing her name, I think, but she writes about how the Black women oftentimes, she makes the argument that Black women on The Bachelor oftentimes play a sort of periphery role. So they're not central to the storyline. And oftentimes when they do make air, they're almost like assisting white women to find love. If you think about the show and you're like, well, this is reality, right? That, you start to go, well, why are women of color like never smart enough, interesting enough, like whatever, to kind of make that main storyline, right? And so I do think that it's really significant that like I do think that Riley and Marissa is sort of like being together on the show is really important. I'm excited for Michelle's season. It will be good.
We're gonna do a podcast on that one too.
Absolutely. We don't get much of a break though, do we?
Like 1 week.
Oh my goodness.
It's fine, guys. It's fine. It's going great.
We love doing the podcast. It's just some of our other parts of our lives.
Yeah. I'm gonna talk to my boss and see if I can get some stuff off my plate. It's like this podcast that I'm doing to further my career is really taking up some time.
Who do we ask for a course release so that we can do the podcast?
We should submit something to Patrick and just have
really
him like a deep sigh, like
it would be amazing. So what are you most looking forward to this next season?
Well, obviously, I I think the new Bachelorette is really interesting. So she actually played basketball for one of the universities that is in our conference. And so I remember watching her play. I watch a lot of basketball. And so that's cool. She's a Midwesterner. I like all those things. So yeah.
I like Michelle. I'm like interested though, because I didn't feel like we saw enough of her for me to fully know how she's gonna be in this role.
Right.
So I'm like excited. Nice.
Huh?
She's so nice. I'm like, is she gonna have it in her to like?
I just feel like your high point is always coming off of being one of the like top 3. Once you become Bachelor or Bachelorette, like you can only go downhill because you have to be more of yourself. In the public's eyes, I think people should be themselves. And so I think it's kind of cool that you get to know more sides of them. But I'm trying to think of some of the other people like Matt James. Everybody loved him. And by the end, they're like, that guy doesn't say anything like emotionally, with it. Or, people loved Pilot Pete. And then it was like, you realize that Pilot Pete didn't got a whole lot going on. Yeah.
A Pilot Pete's got his mom.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be a challenging role to do.
If nothing else, it's just fun to see like how people can paint themselves when they're a contestant, and then like how that gets changed up as a principal. Yeah.
Well, that's how I feel about Bachelor in Paradise too, though. That there's people that are like villains, and then they come on Bachelor in Paradise, and you're like, oh, this person is not that bad. Or you have someone like Blake who, like, I wanted Blake and Becca to get together so bad. And then Blake turned out to be this real tool, right? That as well, or like Playboy or whatever the word is for that now. But and like, so you kind of watch all that go. So I don't know. So because there is that's actually a funny thing. I'd read some rumors that like Blake and Becca were like maybe talking again, but then she decided to go on this show, and she's like, well, let me just see how it goes, And so he posted on Instagram the other day and was like, who needs to fall in love on Bachelor in Paradise when you can fall in love with a house? And like, he just bought a new house. And I was like, get it, dude, get it. Enjoy that beautiful kitchen of yours.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
Wait, Blake who? Becca and Blake?
Blake, what's his last name? I might have to look this up quick.
Moby Blake?
No, Blake from... So Blake was the runner-up on Becca's scene.
That really intense Blake guy.
Horseman.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of him at all.
Really? I loved him on Becca's season.
He was so intense. I think this is the guy I'm thinking of.
I didn't think he was too intense.
Maybe I'm thinking of someone else.
But I really loved him on Becca's season and was like a little bit sad when she chose Garrett.
Okay, yeah. So I'm thinking of Garrett. Garrett was the intense guy. Like he was creepily intense. And then Blake came on Bachelor in Paradise and had like slept with a whole bunch of girls at Stagecoach, and they all were throwing him under the bus. And then he got really mopey. They just like kept like showing pictures.
Yes.
I think I'll go home now. Yeah.
He's talked about how psychologically traumatizing his experience on
I feel in some ways I feel bad for him because he had his dirty laundry aired on television. In a lot of other ways, I don't feel bad for him because it's like, it's not like he was drugged. Like he knew what he was doing. And he very clearly was trying to like, not let, like he was trying to play the women off of each other, and he got caught twice doing it.
So I feel like Blake is this just a sad story, right?
Yeah.
Like I think he was truly in love with Becca. I think it broke his heart to not get chosen. I think that he dealt with a rough breakup like a lot of people do, which is to sleep with everybody, which sounds like that's what Bachelor Nation does anyway.
Right.
But then like he goes on, I do think he was playing some of the women maybe, but I also think that some of the women like Caitlyn had some responsibility in things themselves. And then he got to kind of be made the villain. And I just think that like going from like nice guy Blake to like this villain was really, I just think he's a sensitive guy and was not built for that.
No, kind of like,
I think he made some stupid decisions, but I just like don't think that he has like the build to handle making stupid decisions on national TV.
Kind of like, what was the guy's name on Caitlyn's season? Greg.
Oh yeah.
Like Greg would have had a mental health crisis.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know. I just feel like, but I liked him still. So I'm rooting for you, Blake, because I bet he listens.
Did you say rooting for him?
Rooting.
I think you said rooting. Very, very Midwestern. I feel like that's a good way to end. Casserole and rooting. All right. Well, we'll see y'all in 2 weeks.
Happy weekend, y'all.
Have a good weekend. You've been listening to Batchademia with your hosts, Doctors Daniel Dick McGew and Bill Henniger. All opinions expressed on this show are solely the opinion of the person who spoke them. If you like our podcast, please consider following us, leaving us a 5-star rating, and a positive review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Also, please share with your friends, family, and other ardent Bachelor content lovers. If you have comments or questions you would like us to address on the show, you can email us at batchademia@gmail.com or on the Twitter with the handle @batchademia. Thanks for listening.